But you're gonna be alright. When do you graduate? Oh, wow, so you got a year and a half after this?
Your stuff.
I did eat it easily. No, yeah.
I call this weekly meeting in session. Roll call and approval proxies.
All right.
Present.
Archer.
Here.
Cantz.
Here.
Dumont. Hernandez.
Here.
Fink.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Yerke.
Here.
Keel.
Here.
Leonard.
Here.
Whitmore.
Here.
Lockwood.
Here.
McCallum.
Here.
May.
Here.
Nedved.
Here.
Pilling.
Here.
Statler.
Here.
Schrock.
Here.
Seekman.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Tome. Twing.
Here.
Weed. Winter.
Here.
The agenda has changed since it was sent out at 4 p.m. I should have even sent it out, I guess. We've added 2 new things to new business. They're both funding things, so they'll be read and explained. With that in your account, do we approve the new agenda? All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Okay. Agenda approved. Approval of minutes. They were sent out. Were there any edits? You said minutes? I received nothing. Okay. Everybody in favor of approving the minutes that were sent out say aye.
Aye.
Everybody opposed say nay. Minutes approved. We don't have any open floor guests. We do, however, have old business from last week, which is Kingdom Sports Resolution 23F015. Old business. Elder.
Councilor Lewis, resolution number 23F015, 1st November 2023, read this last week. Any questions? Motion to vote.
Alarape.
Aye.
Archer.
Aye.
Cantz.
Aye.
Hernandez.
Aye.
Fink.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye.
Yerke.
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Leonard.
Aye.
Lindworm.
Aye.
Lockwood.
Aye.
McCallum.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Nedved.
Aye.
Pilling.
Aye.
Statler.
Abstain.
Schrock.
Aye.
Seekman.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Tome.
Aye.
Twing.
Aye.
Weed. Winter.
Aye.
New business.
Kessinger Lewis, resolution number 23F-016, originated on the 8th of November 2023, originated by the Executive Board, presented by myself. Whereas Student Association Senate has provided a supplemental request to pay for community chair salary and board student dues, and whereas the board has deemed $1,200 as an appropriate amount to allocate to the organization, and noting Student Association Senate is normally funded by GAF, but took a cut with all of the other organizations last year, and noting Student Association Senate has planned future fundraising events to offset budget cuts and provide funding for SHED. Therefore, be it resolved by a majority vote of the Student Association Senate and the signature of the Student Association President that $1,200 be allocated from the SOAP reverted funds account for SA003 to Student Association Senate.
An overview of what this is. When we got our GAF, when we tried to get GAF money last year, we did not allocate ourselves enough money to operate, and we didn't know it until we tried to pay the chairs. And one of the chairs hasn't been paid yet because of that. So we also don't have enough money to offset the cost of dues that we also didn't think about paying. So this is our mistake, but yeah, that's what those two costs are for.
Is this something that needs to be voted on today?
Yes, it is.
Can I make a motion to suspend the rules?
Second count. All in favor of suspending said rules, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay. Rules are suspended, yes?
Motion to vote.
Second now.
Alright, Alarape.
Aye.
Archer.
Aye.
Cantz.
Aye.
Hernandez.
Aye.
Pink.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye.
Yerke.
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Leonard.
Aye.
Lindworm.
Aye.
Lockwood. McCallum.
Aye.
Nate.
Aye.
Nedved.
Aye.
Billing.
Aye.
Sadler.
Aye.
Schock.
Aye.
Siegman.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Tone.
Aye.
Twing.
Aye.
Weed.
Aye.
Winter.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Yay. We have a second resolution. 17.
Yep.
Okay, Kessinger Lewis, resolution number 23F-017, friendly amendment to November 8th, please. Originated by the Executive Board, presented by myself, whereas rebranding has approached the Executive Board with a supplemental request to provide funding for the remainder of the graphic designer's contract, and whereas the Executive Board has deemed $2,500 as an appropriate amount to allocate to the rebranding funds, and therefore be it resolved by a majority vote of the Student Association Senate and the signature of the Student Association President that $2,500 be allocated from the SOAP reverted funds account for SA003 to rebranding.
Any questions? Yes.
Is this for the trailer wrap?
No. Great question then. This is simply for the graphic designer. This is the very last chunk to pay for the total. I think it's $18,000 for his total contract. This is just for logo redesign. The trailer wraps are a different piece altogether.
Is this something that we want to get approved today?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second, Colorado. All in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Okay, rules are suspended.
Motion to vote. Second.
Alarape.
Aye.
Archer.
Aye.
Cantz.
Aye.
Hernandez.
Aye.
Pink.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye.
Yerke.
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Leonard.
Aye.
Lindworm.
Aye.
Lockwood. McCallum.
Aye.
Nate.
Aye.
Nedved.
Aye.
Billing.
Aye.
Sadler.
Aye.
Schock.
Aye.
Siegman.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Tone.
Aye.
Twing.
Aye.
Weed.
Aye.
Winter.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Great. Those are both new business. And now they're old business. Now they're new business. Open discussion. Hopefully we have some first.
Okay, so I had some people come up to me about food service complaints. So they were able to grab as much food in the time that they were allotted from classes, to classes. So they were like given like 4 chicken nuggets on their plate, and they had to eat all of that, go sit back down, and then come up for seconds, so they couldn't just ask for seconds while they were up there. And then the sandwiches weren't up to standard, they said, due to the lack of meat that was.
So I can say it's already been addressed. So the student emailed me, I met with the dining director. There was a communication piece. There is some stuff in our statement of work in the contract that, I mean, it is not only can be done in all by come back for a second. So there's things written in there where we did talk about proportionate control and those kinds of things. And so I connected that student with the dining director, and they were gonna visit. I didn't have chicken nuggets today. And I got 6 of them, so they moved from 4 to 6, which was okay in that first thing. But we did help them understand that there are going to be some students that they've got 15 minutes in that block, and if they ask for more, that's what we should be doing. And so it's a little bit of a training thing that he was going to meet with his staff as well.
I've had complaints about the new toilet paper being used on campus. It started off in the residence hall, simply because that's where the most turnover is. It has now spread to the library, it is in section. The toilet paper is completely useless. Like, I don't want to be gross, but it does nothing. It disintegrates.
Can anybody second this opinion? Yes? Okay.
Yes. I come to you
It's
after
not
having
funny.
heard these questions.
Okay, well, I'll email facilities this evening or tomorrow morning. So when we were talking about it during leadership, this, whatever we have it for, there was an issue getting product, like everything, right? So I know they were limiting amounts of stock in buildings just so that we make sure we had. So I'm not sure why we switched, so I will see.
Like, it's so bad, I'm
Yeah.
tempted to take my own toilet paper with me.
It's not bad.
Thank you.
So another thing is, some people in the libraries think the tablet is useless because a lot of people just go into the rooms even though they're reserved, like the whole hour, and people just check the signs on the doors.
You're talking about the reserve.
Yeah, it's like the reserved space.
Do those doors lock, or, so the tablet is functionally,
The tablet is just to reserve, to my knowledge, and so I feel like, in my opinion, the general policy is if you have it reserved, you have the right to kick the person out
yeah,
because you reserved it.
yeah.
Yeah, I use that tablet like at least twice a week, and I just reserve the times I know that I'll be in the library, and if there's someone in there, I'll be like, hey, I have a spot, and then I have no problem.
Yeah.
They can leave it right away.
So maybe we just have to stress that that is the policy. If someone has it reserved, it is theirs, and
Yeah.
feel free to ask them to leave.
Does anybody know of any conflict of like somebody having it reserved and them not vacating? That's good, at least.
Yeah, maybe just visit with folks over there, just to see how they can afford stuff. It is critical, I mean, even for our building, if you aren't reserving rooms and people go on it, we just have to have that record, so it can help get the message out.
Anything else?
We saw another workstation.
Yeah. Okay, I guess moving on to CFO report.
Okay, thank you for passing the supplementals. It'll be great for our committee chairs and our dues and rebranding. So I'll have a little bit more money. Big thing for me is next week we will be having our final SOAP workshop, mostly geared towards new orgs. So if you are a part of a new org or know new orgs, I will be sending out an email to them, as well as all of the other organizations for people that did not attend previous SOAP workshops. If they are orgs that did not previously attend and are coming to this one as like a last resort, they will be
their funding will be cut. That's a decent amount, and then following that, we will send out the GAF, talking points to the workshops. And I think we're gonna talk a little more about GAF and the other reports, so end the report. Any questions, concerns, comments? Okay, VP report.
Hi everyone, I'm going to start with the little stuff and start ramping up towards the stuff that's more interesting. So starting with our student fed update, next week they decided to schedule a student fed meeting during the absolute worst time when I'm not available. I don't know why they think that undergraduates can meet at 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. But I will be in props and stats at that time, so Sam's going to be sitting in for me. So the things that we've asked to bring up at student fed haven't changed. Just to reiterate, it's going to be the veteran status for application charges and hopefully getting us to be able to side in a positive way of having just the DOR change their policy on that instead of doing reimbursement, which would be our last resort, if possible. Our status on the classes on the Monday after Easter, and then we're going to bring our jury duty issue up to the student fed level and see if again we can take a stance and bring that up to student fed. Following up on that, I continue to be planning shed still. We were able to start discussing hotel rooms finally, so we're going to go ahead and I took down, I believe it was 21 names last week. So for now, we're going to go ahead and put that in as our number. I know obviously that's probably going to decrease as we get closer, but for now, we're going to go ahead and reserve that. And then moving into other things, President Rankin is going to be joining us as an open floor guest on December 6th at our meeting in the ballroom. So everyone be on your best behavior for that. In terms of GAF stuff, I've got two things here. First of all, Dakota State University, DSU, reached out to us asking for updates on our process in a GAF increase, as they're to the point where they're trying to advertise to their student body that they're looking for a GAF increase, but are looking for some advice on how to do it, how we're going about it. So Sam is going to have a phone call with them, and we'll start having meetings with them to actually work through this together, and probably reach out to Northern as well and Aberdeen and see how they're doing. So, and then the really interesting thing is GAFAC had their first meeting with athletics on Monday evening to discuss athletics budgets. To be clear, this was not the meeting where athletics asks for money for the year. There was no asking for money in this meeting. This was an update on spending amounts for the past fiscal year and an update on overall how athletics is doing. The meeting went well compared to years past. The director of athletics, Joel Lucan, had a half an hour's worth of subjects to discuss with us and had data to back up most of what he was representing for athletics. And I would say it was moving in a positive direction from meetings in years past. We did have some questions that we asked Director Joel about in terms of funding amounts for some teams and why there is such wide variability across certain teams, and we weren't able to get direct answers from him. So we'll be reaching out to his office to try and get some stronger answers on why certain teams are so well funded when other teams are not well funded whatsoever. So yeah, we'll be reaching out to get more information about that. And if I'm not mistaken, the meeting with the actual budget takes place in January, which is February.
Last year was February.
Okay. So the meeting with the actual budget talks will be taking place in February. So, but at the very least right now we had a starting point with athletics with looking at their budgets from last year, finances, seeing how much they spent per athlete, and we were able to take some time and look at those numbers and ask them about it. And we'll be reaching out to the athletics office to actually to get some more clarification on those numbers. So, end of my report.
Questions?
Yes, Senator Stephen.
Where are we at with working with StuFed on our GAFAG increase?
So as far as StuFed goes, StuFed's not going to take the position to increase GAF.
Okay.
Because that would require all pieces of StuFed to agree. and we're not all gonna agree, and if we did agree, we wouldn't all agree on the exact increase and what was it for, so this is a university by university approach. With that being said, as far as increasing our argument, if we can define a use for an increase in gap for a specific topic, and Dakota State can also define an increase in gap for that same specific topic, it definitely lends much more credibility to that. So I think having discussions across the state with other universities who are having some funding issues to see if we can find places where we all are underfunded, it helps our argument. Yeah.
Who else had a question?
I
Senator
just
Tom?
had a comment. I talked to unexcluded president of SAC, just athletics, they oversee athletics basically. And I think she's at a meeting, and she said that she's gonna work on pushing the gap increase to all athletes. Just said somebody else who goes to like wellness center and them, so.
That's a very good point. When we discussed, so obviously as soon as Senate starts questioning some things about athletics budget, we get designated the bad person in the room, we get designated the anti-athletics person. So I had to take a moment to make it clear, try to the director of athletics, that we're not anti-athletics, but when these numbers get pushed out to campus and people are openly able to see them, that there should be an explanation for why, what money is going where. And when we had this discussion in the meeting room with a lot of other higher ups at the university, it became very clear that athletics is also in favor of the gap increase. And Director Lucan told us that if we are able to get a vote set up for a gap increase, he can guarantee us 308 votes, which is the athletic body, which is a quarter of our university's undergraduate population. So long as we have that, he will hold us accountable to those votes.
Dr. Spindle and Joe Lucan also voiced that they would be willing to come speak at an open forum about athletics and just gap in general to the student population. So they're both very on board in supporting Senate with getting a gap increase.
Any other questions? Senator Winter.
How does the Fed classify a veteran?
Do you have an answer?
No, I was just comment because he's got a point. He's like, I don't qualify as a veteran.
Yeah.
Even though I serve in the national veteran, so that's also something to consider.
So what I'm kind of curious is, would it currently serving guard members or currently serving active duty or currently serving personnel, like their dependents if their kids want to put in an application, but they have to pay the fee as well?
I want to ask and see if GR can look into this and get a definitive answer on it. So because it might be a little more complicated than just a Google search. It might be that might actually be needing to reach out to someone, because if this is something where we could also take a stance on defining what a student veteran is as well, because obviously you're not able to be active duty when you're serving or when you're being a student.
But at the same time, like in the campus system, I'm treated as a veteran.
Treated but not.
Like I have a veterans advisor.
Okay.
I think this is an SDPOR issue, if I'm really being honest. It seems like they have multiple definitions and policies for subsets.
This is about the refunding.
This is just, I think your question is just about how we designate in general.
Yeah.
But it's somewhat related, yeah.
Yeah, you could talk to Allie about that.
Okay.
She might
Yeah.
know.
I could do that too.
And while you're over there, Molly Moore can give you the specific board policy that sets application fees. Cause that would be the policy in there in some form, if anything changes where the policy would change.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Any other questions?
President's report. The last week, I have focused quite heavily on Calc 123. There will be no discussion of Calc 123 tonight. I'm meeting with the head of the department tomorrow to discuss that though. So hopefully there have been some answers given, and it looks like not too many students have dropped that course, which is good. We don't want students dropping because we think that the course is designed poorly. But yeah, so that's an update for that. That's consumed most of my time since Thursday. In addition to that, like you mentioned, I'm meeting tomorrow with Dakota State's president to discuss GAP. I think that they're going to have a harder time than us with communicating GAP, but hopefully we can come up with some things that help us both. That's really all I have. End of report. Any questions? Okay, great. International report.
I have some quick update on the survey I sent to the international students. I got some feedback, nothing related to the complaint we got from one student. Whatever feedback I got, and I've been following up with the international center. The feedback was mostly related to career fair and like how easy it is to hire international students as well. The international center has an initiative with the career fair with just a blog making it better.
Veterans report.
No report.
Graduate report.
How did the chili cook-off go?
Oh, chili cook-off went delicious. But we will be going through a post-mortem, so to speak, tomorrow. That's accurately covered in the email. We're going to talk about what money was made and how we can do things better next year and what we can do to improve upon it.
Great. I'm happy to hear that. Graduate report.
The survey, the second largest complaint was grad students having no friends and they want more activities. The first being low pay, which, you know, it is what it is.
Well, I don't know.
So I only know what the civil department gets paid, so I was going to ask the grad.
So we're in a baseline situation. We just changed how we pay.
Yes, and it's screwed over a lot of people.
It was received poorly. It was communicated poorly. Not only that, I'm taking off the president's hat. We don't pay graduate students enough to get competitive graduate students.
No.
Like cost of living isn't cheap here. It's relatively medium, but we pay so much less than every other university that does research. So yeah, we're paying under what
To caveat with that, we also have a very low overhead.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So like to do research here is very cheap.
Yeah.
Relative to other universities. So if we want more money, that really means upping our overhead.
Oh yeah.
Is basically what it comes to.
And it's not gonna happen.
No.
We're screwed. Yeah, right now. No, it's good that you got results back then. Any questions about how depressing it is to be graduate student?
Do you have a solution for number 2?
Number 2, well, they started a graduate org, so join that. Or make friends with undergrads, that's a good option too.
Like graduate students have Friends Club.
I play cribbage. Come play cribbage with me if you're graduate.
You're done. Okay, great. Non-grad report.
No report.
Committee reports for Constitution.
Thank you for having me in sports.
Any questions, comments, or concerns for Constitution? Did you have an update for ATMA?
Yeah, ATMA has been not very responsive. They would like to present next week, but we'll see if they continue to want to present next week.
Okay.
Within the next 2 weeks.
Point of clarification, what, can you not use the acronym?
I can't, sorry. I don't know what they actually mean.
The full name is quite long.
Yeah, I don't even know what their subject is.
Okay.
Business management or something.
Okay, wonderful.
You're looking up?
Yeah. Association of Technology, Management, and Applied Engineering.
Well, I hope we see him next week. I'm excited. I've heard so much about him. Any other comments, questions, concerns for Constitution? None. Great. PR.
Thank you again for last week's ballroom meeting. We will have another one this coming week on the 15th. So don't come here, go to the ballroom. Thank you to everyone who helped with the first ever Spike and Solve last week. I was pleasantly surprised with how good of success it was. We had a large amount of participation. Next one will be in the next semester, so we'll worry about that then. What was my? Thank you to everybody who filled out the Hard Rocker Discount Program survey. We got a nice, huge list of people of businesses that people would like to participate in the program, so we'll be contacting them, and hopefully the goal is to have the list done by winter break and have that finalized to get published out. If you haven't yet, please fill out the Senator of the Week form. It is simply just to highlight a senator. And the first ever Senator of the Week that we're going to be highlighting this week is Hagan Archer, so he'll be highlighted on our social media. And is it okay if I share the fundraising dates now? Are those confirmed?
Yeah.
Okay, so we will have Ponchero's fundraisers to help fund for SHED and all of our other fun stuff that we do with Senate. The first one is going to be the 22nd of November. And then the 29th of November, which is going to also be semi-Senate bonding, more info from GR to come on that. End of report. Yes.
Do you have something to talk about the open house that we have?
There's an open house.
On the 15th.
Cool. I didn't know that. Neat.
No, it's our office show. It's
The office open.
Oh!
After the
Yes.
meeting,
I have not heard any info. I've been reaching out with Corey.
after the
and-
meeting, right?
Sorry.
Refreshments will be in my office, so the moment the Senate meeting's over, I think we should plan to.
Yes, okay.
Invite
I have,
you.
yes.
We just need to market it to students.
Yes,
so.
okay. So that is confirmed for
Yeah.
now?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yes, so that will be next week as well, right after the ballroom meeting, so maybe dress extra fancy. We're gonna have Meet Your Senator ribbon cutting event for the new Senate office. So that'll be next week as well.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, great. GR?
Well, like Maddie said, first of all, Maddie said there may or may not be some buying event for that fundraiser thing. We'll see what goes on there.
What?
I said there may or may not be a Senate buying event for that. We'll see what goes on there.
Okay.
Big thing. I talked to Pennington County on Thursday, and I talked to the head of the county clerks, the head clerks at the county clerk's office, and she said that she made a policy in her office, basically emailing all the people that work in her office to say they'll be leaving online students in jury duty. So we got that. At least for Pennington County, for residents of Pennington County, we got that secured. I think our next steps are going to the state, because she was kind of indicating that some of the cases that we were kind of looking at were outside of their jurisdiction, possibly the state's hands. So I think that's the next step, is just going to the state, possibly contacting our senators, just our legislatures in general, and telling them to kind of try to get some sort of policy in place to, and possibly even making it like a thing for every school, not just ST-Mines, all the schools around. So yeah, that's about all I have.
I think that's a great idea. Like I said, we're going to bring that up at the STU Fed. But I think that after we meet the STU Fed next week, I think it's probably good just to share what we know about our county with the other schools, so that they kind of understand where we're coming from. I think that we get a lot of agreement statewide on that, which would make our voice a little stronger. Yeah. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay. SA, we're excited. Well, I mean, it's about D2L, right?
It is about
Yeah, I had to make it fun somehow.
Okay, so here's, the first one was how was your professor? 50% were good, so I feel like that's a fair amount. But about 40% said fair or less, so I think there's still definitely room for improvement. Oh my goodness. Ignore all the little, people don't know how to fill out surveys very well. But, 63% of people said that their professors didn't put their duties on D12, which I feel like is a big issue. There's lots of comments of people missing assignments because most of them were in D12, but randomly they wouldn't put an assignment in there, so they didn't know it existed, or they didn't know when they put it in. So I think that's one of the main things I want to focus on. Next. So this was a big complaint that Senator Reed brought to me, was issues with taking quizzes. So it says about 40% of people experience issues, which I feel like is a pretty fair amount. The biggest problem was with fill in the blank quizzes. If you have like a number slightly off or a word, like I just took a quiz yesterday and I put the word tensile instead of tension and I got the question wrong. So just things like that, just trying to get the professors to actually grade it by hand, not just expect the computer to catch everything, would be another good thing. One of my slides got deleted. So based on the poll, I had everyone put their majors down, so I could kind of connect to see if there were specific majors that had work to do. Obviously it doesn't reflect, not every single person from each major submitted it, so it could be a little bit off. Mechanical engineering, there was 54 people that were mechanical that submitted their survey, and 43% of people said it was either fair or poor in that department. The biggest one was CSC and Seng. Almost 50% of people said that they're poor. And then biology was about 45%. And chemistry was 80%, but only 5 people submitted it. But I don't know about that one. And then mining was similar, but only 5 people said anything. So those are the main ones to look at. So I've been trying to decide if it would be worth it to maybe specifically contact the department heads of these, just tell them that it's something to look out for. Because I'm going to reach out to, who was the contact, Corey?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Who is in charge of like the education for professors?
I'm trying to think of the best way to get there. I mean, Faculty Senate does do some stuff to help implement. The ALC meetings that a few people go to, all our department heads are at those meetings. So I'm wondering, and Dean Joe goes to those, and so maybe just creating like a summarization of kind of feedback that you got, and just get that to Dean Joe. Maybe you can share that with department heads, just to see if there's something specific. And then, I mean, obviously everything falls under IT as far as functionality of the program, right? And so if there's something that they're not learning, I mean, right now there's like some online trainings even for you to do with Senate that can go through, right? But I don't know how much that's really happening for anyone other than just going to their website. Do you know any?
No, I was just gonna say it's not. I was gonna say it's not D12's fault.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, there's certain comments that were a little concerning. There's like probably about 3 people said something along the lines of the professors say D12 isn't great to work with, so they're not gonna try to learn it. So that's obviously a little bit problematic.
And there is an office on the 3rd floor of library. Her name is escaping me right now. That deals with helping, like training, that is very good. Training with different things for faculty members, so that could be something that may be a session that they can hold for professional development. When that comes to me, I'll let you know.
Okay, so then here's the important issues that when I bring something to whoever I'm bringing with, they'll say, I'll say. Yeah, and then the third one I didn't talk about was the uniform structure from class to class. People were just complaining because, like not every professor puts the syllabus under the syllabus page or the grades, under the grades. Then that's the other thing too, putting grades in. A lot of people said their professors don't put grades in until the very last minute. But I think that's partially a D2L issue and partially just an entire faculty issue. Wasn't there a resolution passed by SA last year to try to address that? Midterms?
Yeah, I think one of the things to take into account is that just because the grades are in D2L, it doesn't mean that there are two things going on. One is whether they've been graded at all. The second one is whether they've been graded, you know your grade because you document the stuff back, and they put it in so you can calculate your own grade easily. I think they're two different issues. The second one I'm much less concerned about. The first one is way more important. I think we had to discuss that last year. I think that it's something we did last year.
Yeah, I think there was something with midterm grades specifically.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if anything necessarily approved after that. Because most of my professors are grades in.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I only had 3 put in midterm grades this year on the official site.
I heard from a lot of my residents in my building that they didn't receive midterm grades and they didn't know they were passing classes.
So there's the deficiency. We all know what the deficiency is. The midterm is, they have to put in midterm deficiencies for undergrads. So, yeah, that's a SDPOR policy, in the requirements of being a professor. So you guys should expect to be talking to those show up. And if they aren't showing up, if you are feeling that is an issue.
Okay, my midterm grades, this should be updated with midterm grades, I have 1.
No, a deficiency is when they tell you if you're failing.
Okay. Well,
It doesn't help you to know if you got a C or a B, but the deficiency is prior to withdrawal date. They say, no, you're failing, so you can withdraw. Yeah.
okay, so yeah, then the residents I was talking to, they were concerned because none of them had midterm grades in that system.
Yeah.
So are we talking about midterm grades on Banner or just midterm grades in B2L?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So they weren't on B2L either?
Yeah, they were on D12, they were on Banner.
Because I feel like Banner is the lesser issue. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But if they aren't even going into B2L, that's definitely an issue. Then I'll also try to address.
And Dr. Surabek is the person.
How do you
SUROGEK.
Cool.
First name Andrea.
I'm gonna sit down myself for that.
Thank you.
I got just I got a couple other things. I'm gonna talk to Office of Inclusion to see what programming possibly to get with interacting with international students and professors, and see if he would like more information to figure out what's in there. So maybe he's doing a poll later on. And then Dean Joe just emailed me this morning about an issue that was brought up in some review session by some people. I don't remember what it is exactly. That there's too many different websites and ways that students are contacted. Trying to get it more down to one way that people are communicating. So I'm gonna focus on that here. That might be an next semester issue there. That's all I got.
Any questions? Okay, awesome. Campus and ad hoc committees, any updates?
Sorry, did you make questions?
No, I haven't yet. I actually forgot that I did that at all. I will make a part of the committee. I'll send out a winner's good tomorrow. Thank you for reminding me. Any other ad hocs with announcements, updates?
Inclusion was supposed to meet last week, but the meeting was shifted around a bunch of times to accommodate different people, and then ended up accommodating nobody, so it was just canceled.
Okay.
So.
That's makes sense. Okay, moving on to upcoming Senate business. Next week, we are in the Beck Ballroom, and we have a little thing afterwards. There are free refreshments. It's before? After?
After.
I'm having conflicting. It's after.
After.
After. After our meeting, get a refreshment. Please. That's my announcement. Do you have any announcement?
Yeah. So the India Club is organizing the Diwali event next week. It's going to be on 18th at 5 in the ballroom. There's going to be some free food and some performances. So yeah, please to come and invite us.
Also for the food, we would like volunteers. So if you're interested, if your club or organization wants to help out with preparing the food and with decorations, you can contact me or President Kessinger. Senator Rocker, I got your email, so that's great. But yeah.
About how many people we need?
You guys need as many people as possible.
Yeah. So from November 14th all the way to November 17th, 4 p.m. onwards, so like 9 p.m. And even like an hour slot works, so if you can make it, that would be great.
And the actual event is on the 17th, correct?
On the 18th.
On the 18th.
5 p.m. Back ballroom.
Either. I think they both are.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
So PDI is having a networking mixer on Monday, the 13th, which is coming Monday, from 5:30 to 7. It's a budget around people with RPG for it. We're having 3 different online speakers talking about things like transitioning from college to professional life, continuing education, and just general professionalism. And then Shelly Ganager said that there will be about 25 different alumni there for the event as well. There's free food and free refreshments. So if you are interested in that, you can either message me or it's on the president's, just look up PDI or Alright.
47 days till Christmas.
GR, Secret Santa. You guys know that?
What?
You know Secret Santa's happening?
Sure.
You guys are in charge of Secret Santa.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Any other announcements? Okay, if we're done with announcements, we could go to adjournment if somebody. Great. All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Say nay. Okay.